Okay, this is week one of the Artist Way. So, today I want to talk all about the Artist Way. When I was talking in my last video about this, I talked about the me getting the book at the library because I didn't want to pay for it unless I really thought that it was a good book for me. So, with that being said, I got the book at the library, and right now I am doing chapter one, week one. And in chapter one, it talks all about creative recovery and what that looks like, what the tasks are, things that you should kind of think about and work through as far as your blockages. So I'm just going to go through a little bit of that. Um, I have been doing morning pages. So, what the morning pages are is you write 3 pages every single morning, and whatever comes to your mind, whatever you just kind of want to get cleared out of your head, you write it down. It's been a little bit difficult for me. I have always been the type of person that is like, I keep a lot of things in my head and I don't say much. And so writing these things down, 3 pages every single morning, was very, very difficult because it's like after I have so much to say, that's it. But what I have been trying to do is allow my brain to just do its thing, and literally whatever comes up to my head, I write it down immediately. And so oftentimes, like during like the second page, me going into the third page, where I feel like I've exhausted like every drop of thoughts that I could onto the page, I have something else that kind of comes up. Um, and I'm like, ooh, I want to talk about this because this is on my mind now. So, and then I finished the third page. So I think it's something that you have to get used to. It's something that just kind of comes with time and practice. So I want to talk a little bit about the affirmations. So in the Artist Way, it talks about how we have these negative self beliefs, negative thoughts that come up in our brains called blurts. And hold on, what I'm going to do. They have these things called blurts. And the blurts are basically the negative thoughts in your head that you get when you hear a positive affirmation about yourself. So, so that I really, something that was really weighing heavy on me as far as my creative work is being the age that I am and it being too late. That was like one of the blurts that had came up when I decided to write down a positive affirmation. So I'm just going to kind of go through like some of the stuff that I've written down for my affirmations. And even though this is like, you know, what I would consider private or whatever, I think it's just really important to kind of share those things about myself because it makes it easier for me to be comfortable and sharing things. So one of my affirmations was I am willing to use my creative talents. And some of the blurts that had came up were what talent, it won't bring in money, people will not care about it, and there is too much going on already. For example, things that's going on in the world, things that's going to or things that I think is going to keep me from being able to pursue my creative dreams. My affirmations, my positive affirmations to combat that was, you are talented and gifted. Um, for everything you create, abundance will come. Abundance and money and resources will follow. You will heal people with your music. There will always be distractions, but stay focused. And those are some of the positive affirmations that I had came up with to kind of uh, combat those type of, thoughts that I would get. Um, so also, what we had to do for week one was doing artist dates. So I want to talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about artist dates because that's like the fun thing about this. Something that I have been looking forward to. So the artist date that I did was I went to see One of Them Days. And One of Them Days was a really, really good movie. I really enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed it because it helped me to be a little bit open minded around my creativity and how I can use my creativity to bring in resources, abundance, whatever that may look like. It really inspired me to kind of look within myself to have certain needs met and how I don't need to reach outside of myself to try to make things happen. And I feel like One of Them Days told a really good story around that while being lighthearted, funny. It's an instant classic, so I definitely recommend going to see that. Um, of course, with the artist dates, you go by yourself. It gives you a chance to take your younger artist self, your child artist self, to be able to enjoy and be inspired. And I just loved it. It was amazing. Let's see, what else did I want to cover? Um, I feel like a lot of the things. Oh, yeah. So I wanted to kind of go over some of the imaginary lives that you would have if you could, like, if you could have 5 imaginary lives where you would do other things besides the one thing that you're doing in this life. I wanted to go over that a little bit. And so, if I was imagining 5 imaginary lives, I would be a famous painter, I would be a filmmaker, I would be a chef, I would be a fashion designer, and a creative director. One of my far off dreams, maybe after I pursue the dreams of being a musician, I want to direct films. It's something that I feel like have always been in the back of my mind, something creatively that I wanted to do besides be involved in fashion. But it's been like one of those like one-off things that I really want to be involved in. I remember when I had created my first music video and directing that and coming up with the costume design, the story, everything like that, like basically being a creative director around the music video. It was one of the most enjoyable things I've ever done. I really, really loved putting that type of creative input into a music video. It was very fun. That's where I found out that I like to design, you know, clothing for a music video. That's when I found out I love directing. If I have like a vision in my head, I can break that down and put it into recording and filming and what I need to do acting in the video. It was amazing. I loved it. And I want to continue to do that with my work. And I will start to create more of my music and making videos and doing photo shoots. Like that's something that I have thought to create goals around this year. With that being said, I am going into my next week of the creative way. I am looking forward to it. It's a little bit more involved, um, but we'll see how it turns out. And of course, I will be back here to talk about it. But there is some great, great information in this book. I have been able to kind of the get over some of the creative blocks that I have been facing when it comes to making music. Like I know before I would kind of overthink some of the ideas that I had, and I realized that I am way too critical of myself. I am way too critical of my creativity, and I really hold myself back by doing that. One of the things that I did in this book that was in the first week is that we talked about the monsters in your life that have kept you from being able to express yourself completely, in a way that was happy and joyous to yourself. And I remember as a kid being reprimanded for being myself, and it has definitely created blockages when it came to my creativity. So once I was able to kind of work through that, it was like the creative flow was just flowing. Like it just worked. It just, like, I didn't have to think too hard about things. Um, Musical ideas just came to me, and I put them down immediately without overthinking about it. And it was a very transformative thing to kind of revisit that moment when I was a child and finally saying, I'm not a child anymore. I'm an adult, and I have the ability to do the things that I want to do without being reprimanded or um, not being my fullest self. So that was great, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I can't wait to see how I continue to progress. And I will be here next week to talk all about my week 2 of my creative recovery with the Artist's Way. And so be sure to subscribe if that's something that you kind of want to follow. And I'll see you next time. Bye.